lovers. So glad you are joining me on this Again and Again author interview. This month, we're talking with Regina Stone Matthews, the author of The Ant in the Hill and other award-winning books. I'm so excited to share this book and this sweet author friend with you. Be sure to stay to the end to find out who we'll be chatting with next month, and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more book fun. Enjoy our chat. Hi, book lovers. I'm Valerie Fentress, and with me today for our Again and Again interview is my critique partner friend, Regina Stone Matthews. I'm so glad to have you here.
Thanks. I'm loving it.
Well, Regina, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your family?
Oh, gosh. We don't have very long, though, do we? All right. So,
time.
So my husband and I have been married a long time. We have 3 daughters, and we have 6 grandchildren. 3 live here and in Texas, and the other 3 live in Georgia. And so we've been here a long time. My husband was born and raised in Atlanta. I was born in South Carolina, and we moved to Atlanta when I was going into like the 9th grade. And then David and I met, and he was a blind date.
Oh, there's a story
there's
there.
a story. And so all these many years later, we've lived here for like 32 years.
Wow.
It's a long time.
Got to Texas as fast as you could, right?
That's it. Yeah. No, we really liked Atlanta for a long time, and then he just got a great job offer, so we moved.
You made the move.
Yeah, our girls were little then, and now they're grown people with lives of their own and kids of their own, and so that's my life right now.
Well, now that they're grown, you get to watch your grandchildren
Yes,
too.
I do. I get to watch. We started with Haley, and Haley's now 9 years old and in school, and now we have Finley and Noah, and Finley is 3, and Noah is 22 months. So
they're sweet.
They're either going to kill me or keep me young. I
That's
don't know
right.
which one it is. Not sure.
Minute by minute decision.
Yes.
Well, tell us a little bit about your book, The Ant in the Hill.
Oh, The Ant in the Hill. So The Ant in the Hill came about very strangely. I was actually writing another book called Having Tea with Jesus. And so I was like in the middle of that, and I was just writing about those times when I just needed tea with Jesus, because just saying a prayer and being all formal with Jesus just wasn't getting me where I needed to be. And so I can remember my grandmother always said, she says, it's always good to pray, and we should pray all the time, but sometimes we just got to sit and have tea with Jesus. So I was writing about all those times, and I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, because I have a lot of children's books, and I thought, you know what? Kids have challenges too.
Yeah.
They have hills to climb, and they have things that come into their life when, like I'm sitting here writing about all the times that I needed to have tea with Jesus. And it was when I was a kid, and it was when I was an adolescent, and it was when I was an adult, when I was a young adult. So I'm writing about all these times, and I just kind of like stopped. And I said, I need to write something for children about meeting challenges and being able to get to the top of the hill. And then my mind just started going and going like it does. And I thought, ew, what if there was this little ant? And this little ant needed to get to the top of the anthill to get home. But he couldn't, because the anthill was so big, like it was a big challenge. And he was this little tiny ant. And how was he going to get there? Well, of course, whenever we have these challenges in our life, we pray. We have friends that help us. And so the little ant is thinking, well, maybe somebody can help. And so along comes each of the ants to help him out.
You brought in a lot of different types of ants and how they could help, and but they just don't quite get him where he needs to go.
Exactly. Their heart is in the right place. They see that there's this little ant, and he needs to get home, and he has this challenge in front of him, this hill to climb, and they try really hard to help him. And so it just wasn't working.
Well, what was your favorite part of writing this book?
probably, like when I thought about the ant, I thought, okay, so I have this ant, he's got to get to the top of the hill. All these other ants are going to have to help him. So I had to research. I had to research ants. I'm like, researching ants. And because some of the ants I knew, some of the ants I didn't know. And so that was the fun part, because I love to research things. Whenever I'm writing or whenever I'm doing something, I like to stop and research, just to make sure I'm not making a fool out of myself.
Right.
So I was researching it, and I came upon all these different ants. And my illustrator, Lee Vashey is my illustrator, and she just worked wonders with all of those ants and all of the things that we were trying to help this little ant to get to the top of the hill, and it just worked out really well. So that was the fun part, and then working with Lee is always fun.
It's always fun to see your words become pictures.
Yes,
because the pictures are in your head, but to see them actually come out is lots of fun.
And what's even more fun is when your pictures match your illustrator's pictures.
That is fun.
That's killer.
That's when the magic happens.
That's killer.
Right?
Yeah.
Too fun. Now, did you always want to be a children's author?
I never wanted to be a children's author.
Uh-oh.
Isn't that sad? No, really. When I was a child, I did not like reading.
Okay.
I did not like it. And my mother was a teacher. Okay. And so, not when I was growing up, because my dad didn't want her to work. She taught years before I was born. But it just saddened her that I did not want to read. Yeah. And so, so she started asking questions of, other teachers, and they said, find something she loves. Well, at that time, I loved horses. So Mother went out and bought me Black Beauty.
Oh, that's a good one.
That was it. That was it.
Sucked in.
That lit the fuse. And so after that, I really started loving it. Then all during my teenage years, I kept a diary.
Okay.
And so I started writing. And I'm thinking, I kind of like this. I'm kind of liking this. But it was just a diary. I didn't want to do anything else. Well, then I went on to school, went on to college, got married and started having babies. And one day, I have no idea why, I thought, you know what? I want to write a story for my girls. Just something that I can read to them, we can have fun with. When they get older, they can read it. And I thought, well, what can I write about? And I thought I would write about something that they knew nothing about, which was being an only child, because I'm an only child. Okay. And so Elizabeth is an only child. So it's Elizabeth Marie Hutchinson. And when I was a little girl, I used to dream about this far-off place, and I never dreamt about it unless I was having problems. And I would dream about this far-off place, and I would go there, and I would talk to this really nice man, and he would just give me the answers that I needed, or he would just provide whatever I needed. And so I thought, well, I'm going to take that and turn it into a story. And so I did. And that was the first Elizabeth book. And I did that, and I put it in a drawer. And it stayed there for 100 years. And then one day I came back, and it was when we moved here from Atlanta, we moved to Texas. And I was going through stuff, and I found it. And I'd totally forgotten about it.
Oh, wow.
And I got it back out, and I went, this ain't too bad. And I knew nothing about publishing. I mean, I knew less than nothing. And I just thought, I started doing as much research as I could at that time. And I, came upon something and put it out there, and the rest is history. It just kind of, fell
just
into
kept
place
going from there.
after that. So no, I did not picture myself in this where I am now.
Right.
Really. And I never thought any of this. I never thought, after Elizabeth, I thought I'd do this one little book. And, then I think God just kind of goes,
hello.
Are you listening? And he starts tapping me on the head saying, you going to leave Elizabeth like this? Elizabeth needs to go somewhere.
Right.
And I had already introduced Margaret. And so, I thought, well, let's just go with Margaret. So I remember I had a Margaret in my life when I was in elementary school, and she's probably in prison now, I think, I hope. But anyways, so we just kind of went forward with that, and so it's just kind of developed into that.
Very cool. Now, how many books have you written at this point?
15.
15. And they kind of range from, what is it? You have some nonfiction?
I have some nonfiction short stories, a collection of short stories. One of them is an anthology with some of the people that's in our writing group that we got together and did a book. And then I have one of the short story books is actually a teaching book because it's about oral storytelling. Because I'm a part of the North 40 Storytellers Guild. And so it's about oral storytelling, but it has a bunch of short stories in it too.
Very fun.
So I have those.
Very cool. Now, what does your family think about you being an author?
Oh, they think I'm obsessed. They are very supportive.
Aww.
They really are. They support my habit. And they do. They come to all of the events that I go to, the Christian Literary Awards that I go to. They're always there for me. And, so they just kind of say, leave Mom alone. She's writing.
Now, you had your granddaughter even help you with a project.
Yes. Miss Haley. Haley just says things. And you're like, you're 4.
Either a genius or crazy, one or the other, right?
Now she's 9. But all during, it went across several years that she would say things and I would just write down exactly what she said. And so it was just like, sometimes she would say things, it's like the very first thing she said, we were at the library and it was cold and Haley hated coats when she was little. She hated them. And so I made her wear a coat. Because it was cold.
Of course.
And so we go into the library and we're waiting for story time to start and she stands there with her hand on her hip and she looks at me and she says, coats make no sense. Jackets make sense. Coats make no sense. And that was the beginning of Haleyisms.
Okay.
And so what I did was I threw a couple of them out on Facebook and people would they thought, she did not say that. And I was like, yeah, how old is she? She's 4. I'm sorry, she's 4. But she did, she would just say these things. And so I just kept a list of them. And then I found pictures photographs to match up perfectly with what she was saying at the time she was saying them. And we just kind of collaborated with them. And she goes, I remember that. And so we did that. And it's Haleyisms. And she's throwing out some more stuff. And she actually, at the Christian Literary Awards, she won the Pulitzer for her book, and so it just has worked out.
Sweet.
Yep. So I've been keeping track of what she says all along. Because she just says stuff that just comes to her head.
Too fun. Do you think she'll catch the author bug and be an author one day?
I don't know. We'll have to see. She likes to paint.
Oh, that's right. And she likes to hide things in her paintings.
She likes to hide things in her paintings and little gems in her paintings. But she's into dance right now. She's been dancing for, I'm going to get this wrong, 5-6 years now.
Okay.
6, I want to say. So, in fact, their recital is on Friday. She likes dance.
She's creative, so she might.
I don't know. We'll see where it goes.
Now, Regina, what's been the most impactful book in your life? Other than the Bible, we could all pick that one.
But the book that really rocked me the most was The Book Thief.
Okay.
And we were talking about that last night, Rosemary. Yeah. I loved that book. And so in my earlier years, I never really cared that much about history or what was going on.
Right.
But now I really love it. Now, I'm not an authority on it by any stretch, but I enjoy reading snippets. I read The Book Thief and I thought, holy moly, if I could write like this, oh my goodness. I loved that book. So it was very impactful. Now, if you ask me to look back on the other, I love To Kill a Mockingbird. I love that book.
That's a good one.
I love Gone with the Wind. I love that. I can remember Gone with the Wind, it premiered, the movie, in Atlanta at the Fox.
That's right.
Yeah. And so this friend of mine, they started showing Gone with the Wind like on an annual basis at the Fox, and so we would get all dressed up. We put on our fake jewelry and all our finds, and we would go see Gone with the Wind. And it was wonderful, and everybody.
Southern glory.
Oh yes, oh yes. And Clark Gable, everybody was just swooning and mooning over that. So I really love that book too. I love that book, but it didn't hit me as much as The Book Thief, and I think it's because of who the narrator was,
right?
And so that was that kind of.
It's like a very intimate look at the slow progression of World War II.
Yes.
And we always kind of are thrown into movies and books that are in World War II, but Book Thief was kind of like this slow fade into the craziness that World War II was.
It was. And how death looked at it. And how death looked at people and humans. And so it rocked. Yeah, it rocked my world when I read it. It's really good.
Shook you up.
Yeah, it did.
Too fun. Well, when did you first call yourself a writer, Regina?
This is so funny. I read the first time I figured out that I could write was I was doing a book signing at Barnes and Noble for Dealing with Margaret. Okay. So I'm sitting there, and you know how book signings are. They're either a bust or they're, you're famous.
Right.
Which I'm not. But anyway, this little girl walks up to my table and she has Dealing with Margaret in her hand. And she takes it and she slammed it down on the table. She looks at me and she says, "I so have a Margaret in my life." And I went, "I'm done. I have met my mission in life. I am a writer." That's it. That's what did it. That's what flipped it for me, because I wasn't real too sure, about it, because I'd done the very first Dealing, Elizabeth Marie Hutchinson, and Margaret was, based on a Margaret in my life. And when that little girl did that, I just wanted to hug her and just say thank you so much for validating my work,
right?
And that you got it, you understood Margaret.
Oh yes.
So that was it. That was the point.
Fun. Now, if you could pick a writer, living or dead, to spend a day with, who would you want to spend your day with?
Oh, easy. John Grisham.
Ooh.
I love him. Are you watching? I love you, John Grisham.
Hey, John.
Oh, God. I have watched a bunch of his interviews and stuff, and he is so cool.
Oh.
He is. I could just listen to him talk until the end of time. I love his books. I think I don't know if I've read every one of them, but I've read a chunk of them.
Yeah.
I love courtroom drama. I think when I was little, I wanted to be a Supreme Court justice, but I think that has since gone out of my brain. But
was that before or after presidency?
It might have been. But I love his books. And it's not like he makes the law. I love the law. He makes the law understandable for you,
right?
But I just love his stuff. I do. He just writes great books, and they're about people. They're not glamorous. They're just about people,
right?
Mississippi people. They are just about people.
Yeah.
And I just love them.
Oh yeah. It's amazing how he kind of just, like you said, makes the law in layman's terms, but makes it so thick and suspenseful, and you're just like, I didn't even know this is possible.
I just love it. I love it. Now I do know, and then they made movies and stuff, and I've hated the movies. The books are always better, except for one. Except for one. I'm sorry, John. Except for one, The Chamber. I like the movie
better
more than the book. I'm sorry. And I think it's because Gene Hackman was just killer in it.
Oh,
It was just the best. So that might have been why.
Yeah, actor makes all the difference in the world. Too fun. Well, what is your favorite book? I know, it's the hardest question.
Favorite book?
Favorite
All right,
book.
so if I had to pick all of my books, my favorite book, I'm sorry, it's just going to be To Kill a Mockingbird.
Yeah.
Over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
I wrote about Atticus Finch in one of my books, one of my short stories, because I just loved it. And when I was a little girl,
There's a courtroom drama in
yes,
that too.
it is. But I love Atticus Finch. When I was a little girl, To Kill a Mockingbird came out on screen.
Okay.
And it was, people were not real excited about it.
It was
one of them kind of things. And so, I really didn't know anything about it. I want to say, was I 8 or 9? I don't know how that was. But anyways, when it was out. So my friend, her mother wanted to see To Kill a Mockingbird, right? And it was playing at the drive-in theater. You guys know what the drive-in theater is? The drive-in theater. And so she took us, put us in the trunk to get us, she wanted us to see it. Put us, I promise this is true, put us in the trunk. And went through the, paid and went up, pulled up. We got out of the trunk, sat on top of the car, watched To Kill a Mockingbird. It didn't make a bit of sense to us. I mean, I was like a little kid, but I thought that was the coolest thing in my entire life. But I love that book, and I love the movie.
Yeah.
It's just wonderful. That's my favorite.
Too fun. It's a good choice. Now, you kind of talked a little bit about when your writing journey began, kind of just this idea of Elizabeth Margaret and wanting to write for your girls. When did you really start saying there was more than just that one book?
Well, I don't know. I think God kind of told me I need to do something else. He was like, you just can't leave Elizabeth right there.
Right.
So I thought, well, let's do Margaret's, because I'd kind of introduced Margaret a little bit in the first book. So there was that little hook there that I could bring forward to that one. And then once we dealt with Margaret, because Margaret was a brat, once we dealt with Margaret, then I thought, I need to do something else. Where can I go with this? Well, there was a house across the street when I was a little girl.
Okay.
Well, not little girl, but more. I was like starting, it was called junior high. I was starting middle school. And there was a house across the street. And it was not a nice house.
Okay.
The lady and her family that lived there, the lady was very nice. I played with their kids. And the dad, not so much.
Ooh.
And so I fully remember all of that as a child and how it affected me and how it affected my parents. Did not like him. He was abusive and he was an awful man. And so I thought, Elizabeth's an only child. There's a house across the street from Elizabeth. And nobody knows. Nobody's ever been in that house. I had never been in the house that was at my street in my reality. But there was a house across the street from Elizabeth, and no one knew anything about it. And they saw the people, they knew the kids, but nobody had been in that house. And so Elizabeth got very curious. Well, then all of a sudden, things started disappearing.
Uh-oh.
Items at the school, things like that, that were, being, people thought misplaced, but left behind was a note that said, I owe you. And things got missing out of Elizabeth's locker. And so she was determined to find out who the thief was.
Okay.
And that's all I'm going to do.
There's the story, something right. All right, you have brought a stack of books to talk about your favorite children's books.
Gosh, yes, yes. Of course, Charlotte's Web.
Yeah.
If you don't like Charlotte's Web, there's something wrong with you. I love Charlotte's Web. I've loved it forever.
That's an all-time favorite for us,
The
too.
Velveteen Rabbit. I had a teddy bear. And so me and this teddy bear, he was real.
He was real.
He was real. And then This Is My Day a lot.
Yes.
This Is My Day. Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day. I put this up on Facebook whenever I have a Noah day. And Noah is the terrible, horrible. Ferdinand. I'm sorry. I just love Ferdinand. Sit in the field and smell the flowers.
Yeah.
This one is
Classic.
Gosh. Do you love Shell?
Yes.
I love him. The Giving Tree. That might be the other book that influences you.
Oh, yeah?
It's a children's book, but let me tell you something. The Giving Tree is just something else.
Yeah.
It just I cry every time I read it. I just do. I just cry. Selfish little boy.
I know, right?
Oh, gosh.
It's definitely different reading it as an adult than
It is.
as a kid. And
It is.
You're kind of like, this isn't as great of a book. Okay.
But yes, I love those books, all of them. So I couldn't pick one. I'm sorry, I
I
couldn't pick
know.
one.
You're fine. It's hard
Yeah.
to choose just one because they all impact you in different
Yeah,
ways. And that's
yeah.
the great thing about children's books is no matter, what is it, C.S. Lewis said, what is it? It's not coming to me. But just, a good children's book has to be enjoyed by both children and adults.
Exactly.
A children's book that's only enjoyed by children is not a good children's book.
Yes.
So-
And that's true. I agree with that. I really do.
Steven, so what are you reading right now?
I just got finished reading The Keeper of Lost Things. Ruth, blah, blah, blah. I don't know her name. My book club. I'm in a book club. So that's the last, and I'm done with it. And it was really good. I really enjoyed it. I think I liked it because in the book, this man, he's an author,
Okay.
and he finds things, like he might be out, he might find something, and he brings it home and he labels it and he puts it, in a bag or something and writes when he found it and what it is, and his intent is to find the owner of that lost thing.
Oh, okay.
But as an author, he writes a story about it. And I really liked that because there were little snippets of shorts. I'm a short story writer. And there were little snippets of short stories within the book, but also there were other characters and stuff like that. But I really liked that about the book. So that's what I've been reading.
Way fun.
Yeah, so it was really a cute little book.
Very cool. So what can we expect next from you?
All
Miss
right.
Regina?
Okay, so right now I'm on the verge of a release, hopefully mid-June, a little bit towards end of June. I brought this manuscript to Writers Group.
Which one it is?
And Leah's working on it, and she's doing some wonderful, wonderful illustrations. And I'm putting it in my newsletter to go out and giving the name of. Do you want the name of it?
Sure.
You know the name? If I Had a Front Porch.
Oh,
And
yes.
So, yes, and
I
so
love
it's
that
going to
story.
be this size. It's going to be, the size of the Ant the Hill. And so we're looking at, putting the illustrations are going to go across both pages and everything. And so hopefully the middle or end of June it'll come out.
That'll
and
be really sweet.
And then there's another one in the queue after that.
Yeah.
So she'll start working on those. And that's going to
fun.
be fun. That'll be a little boy book.
Yeah,
Boys are
I
gonna
think
like
I
this.
remember that one.
Yeah, boys are gonna like that one. Yeah, and so then I'm trying, and that's already written. So I'm trying to get back into Elizabeth, and I
Right.
brought something to our critique, and so I'm trying to work on that. I'm not real sure where I want to take it. I've got an idea of where I want it to go, and it'll probably be because each Elizabeth book is a little bit longer, so it's going to be longer than the last one, which
Okay.
is I'm a Detective. But they're not like they're not novels. I'm
Right,
not a
'cause they're middle
novelist.
grade
Yeah,
novels.
yeah. So, and I don't get into high school stuff because I don't understand it. So, my brain is not at that level. So mine's like this. But I have enjoyed writing picture books. I really have. I have enjoyed. It's harder.
It is hard.
It is a lot harder than writing chapter books, because you can go on and on and
Right,
on
right.
and on. But with these, you've got to be very succinct. You've got to be few words, and
Yep.
they got to be impactful. And so it's hard, and I think I like that challenge.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It was a fun challenge
Yeah.
to get, a novel in basically 30 pages.
Yeah, exactly. And 2 sentences on each page.
Exactly. Too fine. Well, Regina, where can people find out more about you?
You can go to my website at reginamatthews.com. All my books are there. You can, I have book trailers for every single one of my books. They're also available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble.
Too fun.
And so
Yay.
that's it. Yeah, that's where you can reach me. You can write me letters. No hate mail, please. But yeah, and I love getting notes from kids, and I get notes from kids every now and then when I've been to a school or something, I love doing that. I love school visits and
Those are
things.
fun.
Yeah, so I enjoy that. I love it because you'll ask them questions and they'll just go somewhere else.
Yep. You'll start here and just take a hard right.
Another right. Yeah, or the teacher will say, well, do you have any questions, And they won't say questions, they'll say sentences,
Yep.
And they'll start telling you all this stuff about their family. I love it. It's so fun.
Oh, goodness. Well, it has been a joy to have you here,
Oh,
Regina,
thank you.
and I've gotten to see you 2 days in a row, which
I
is
know.
extra fun.
I love that.
And we look forward to seeing what comes next.
Oh, thanks so much. I appreciate you inviting me here.
Yeah.
I really do. I feel so special that I get to come here. I get to share The Ant and the Hill. I get to tell you about the books that I like. So just keep reading.
That's right.
Keep reading.
All right. Thank you guys for
Thank
joining
you.
us. Thank you for joining our chat today. I hope you enjoyed getting to know Regina and to hear more about her books. Next month, we'll be talking with Mary Holloman, the author of The Anxious Lily, which is a sweet take on Matthew 6. So be sure to subscribe and join us again next month. Happy reading.